Hello everybody, Huckrux here, and welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode, 387. And today we're going to be talking about the Helios. It's the 60-ton mech from the St. Ives pack. It's been produced, also being used by Comstar, and later being seen rampaging through some of those games with All Hail the Word of Blake. Alright, so, the Helios. 60 tons. It's a 4.64, which is nice. It has some mobility, with those jump jets. It's not fast by any means, but it does have a few bells and whistles on board. It comes with Indo steel, so that cuts it down by half, so 3 tons of freed up space. We have 10 double heat sinks. All right. Now, the one thing that I always disliked about it, though, it only has 9 tons of armor, standard slab armor for 144 points, which is roughly 3.5 tons short of maximum, which can be a problem in some of the games that we played. It's like the armor output isn't all that great, so it has a tendency to get focused down pretty quickly if you get in too close too early. Now, the standard weapons loadout means that you can sit back for a little bit and do some good work here. We have a Gauss rifle in the right arm with 2 tons of ammunition in the right torso. We have an SRM-6 in the right torso with a ton of ammunition. And then we have an SRM-6 in the left torso, with only 1 ton of ammunition shared between them. But we do have case and the right torso, which is a good thing. Then we have 2 ER medium lasers in the left arm, and then jump jets in the right leg and left leg, 2 each. All right. We played plenty of games. It's like with the Helios, it's one of those mechs that we've had. The only thing is that when you look at the actual model, it looks kind of goofy with those 2 SRM-6 launchers. It looks like 2 giant wheels up on top. It makes it look a little goofy, but on the table it does the job halfway decently. Now, other than the one complaint of armor, it's not bad. It maybe could have been outfitted with a different bit of kit to increase its armor output, but there is one that does that, and we'll get to that in a second. So basically, from my own experience of playing the Helios, it's one of those mechs that you kind of sit back for a while as you slowly close in and use that Gauss rifle. And typically, from experience, is that you're going to burn through about 1 ton of ammo for about 8 turns before you even start getting in close enough to start use your short range weapons, because it's kind of like a kick back and relax fire support kind of platform with that Gauss rifle. And then later in the middle portion, the later portion of the game, that's when you start, after you punched a bunch of holes in somebody or other mechs with that Gauss rifle, then you start closing in. That's when you start using those SRMs and those medium lasers. And that's one thing about this mech, is that heat is only determined by if you run, or with this version, or jump. Now, if you jump, obviously, if you jump 4, you're going to pump out 4 heat, and you can do that for a turn. And then the next turn, something has to give, like not shoot everything. But you don't want to heat your mech up too much. I always find that heating your mech up to a point where you start getting detrimental effects really isn't doing you much favors in the game, especially if you heat it up to the point where you got minuses. Like, hey, I got a +1 due to heat being shooting, so that 7 is now an 8, and all of a sudden you roll, hey, I got 5 systems gonna roll to see if I hit, and I miss all of them because all I rolled was 7s. Yes, I've seen that happen, all because of heat. And it's like, why shoot yourself in the foot? Make it harder on yourself. When your opponent's looking at you, oh, geez, you're heated up there? That's too bad. Here, I just happen to be running Inferno rounds. Here you go. Have some more. Have some more heat. There you go. Enjoy. So, yeah, that's one thing about the Helios. It is a middle game type of mech. Now, if you have some other heavy hitters, you know, it was designed to work with your heavies and assaults, you know, heavies. This is supposedly, you know, kind of like a bodyguard type of mech that helps out taking some of the brunt. It doesn't take it very long, especially if you're facing off against assaults. Yeah, this mech right here just disappears quickly. You know, it doesn't have the armor to handle a brawling situation very well. But it does sit back and put some rounds out, especially if you have, let's say, it run in conjunction with some, like an archer, catapults, you know, something of that nature, where you get some LRMs, missile boats sitting back there. You know, this guy could be punching holes. You shoot this thing first, punch a hole with that Gauss rifle, you know, they're 15 points someplace, and then you have your LRM launchers coming in with the support, and those can be your crit hunters for you to make up the big difference. So that's the one thing I've seen with the Helios, how it works out pretty decently. Now, there's a few other versions of this mech. Let me see here if I bring it up. All right, so we just talked about the, this is, well, I forget, the battle value is 1618 with the standard version here that's coming out. That's the, I think it's the D, I believe. Yes, that's the D version. All right, so bring up the mech sheets here. All right, so we just talked about the D, and that comes in at 1618 for battle value. Now there's another variant, that's the 4 Alpha version. This one has a medium laser in the head, an MRM-20 in the right torso, an ERPPC in the right arm, and 2 standard medium lasers. This is kind of one of those mechs that they kind of downgraded the weapon systems on board, per se. And I believe it has more armor. Let me check here. Yes, this one has the armor upgrade by a little bit. And across the board, I think it's like a ton more armor that they use on it. So, yeah, it's not that bad. Recognizes the fact that it does need a little bit more armor to stand up toe-to-toe. This one comes in at 1519, so basically 100 battle value less than the previous version, but you're running around with 3 standard medium lasers. I don't have a problem with that. That's like cheap, easy heat output, and you get your most bang for your buck with the medium laser in the game. And I don't know, it's like, that's probably why we like the sway back so much. Like running around with 8 medium lasers, what's not to like? And then when it comes time to put some double heat sinks on that thing, then you can add like an ER medium or ER large laser. Yeah. All right, so this one has 15 double heat sinks, so they put more into the heat sink department. Okay. Now, with the ERPPC, and then you add the medium lasers, that's 24 heat. If you run, that's 26, so you're running cool. The only thing that's going to start heating you up is that MRM. Now, you can fire that MRM 2 turns, and then you have to shut something off to mitigate the heat for a turn. So it's like run 2 turns and fire everything, and then a 3rd turn, something has to shut off. And usually, it's going to be a couple medium lasers, most likely, to really cool yourself off. Now, the interesting thing would be is if they had the space on board to put triple strength Mymer on, but they don't have the space, so you're stuck with what you got there. That Indosteel is really sucking up a lot of space. But now with the MRM, obviously that goes out, what, to 15? So you do have capability of dishing out some good damage with the MRM and the PPC. So, yeah, a potential of 30 damage right there. Typically, no, it's not going to be 30, but at least with the MRM, it's kind of like a shotgun effect going on right there. I don't have a problem with that. And then, obviously, when you throw in the 3 medium lasers, you can dish out 45 points of damage. It does a pretty good job. You can do that for up to 2 turns, and then, obviously, like I said, something has to shut off, and something has to give. Unless you have triple strength, there's really no reason to be running heat. So, yeah, past the 4 mark. Now, this is more of a, once again, you got the fire support aspect of it with the ERPPC. Same with the Gauss rifle, even though you're doing less damage, but you're basically cutting the amount of tonnage you have with the Gauss rifle in half and losing 5 points of damage. But, you know, it's a trade-off, one or the other. And I don't have a problem with that. And then you're adding another weapon system on board to up your damage output. And a little bit cheaper. So it's not a bad version to run around with. You know, the only problem is the MRM. You know, there is the kind of a bit of a detrimental effect with that thing. But, you know, if you're up close, usually not too much of a problem. Now, the next version, we have the 6X. This comes in at 1760 battle value. All right, so this one has triple strength armor on it, which is good. And I think it has 10 double heat sinks. So you're 585, so it pumped up the speed of pip. So it's not bad. Not bad at all. You go back to the original armor that you have on the original version, but now you have a medium very speed pulse laser in the right torso, one in the left torso, and then you have a heavy PPC in the right arm for 15. So you still got that damage output when it comes to like the Gauss rifle, but now it's a heavy. Obviously, since you don't have a target computer to offset the heaviness of something, so yeah, you're going to have a little bit of problem with that. Yeah, it's not much different from like the previous version problem. Then you have 2 ER medium lasers. So basically, your longest range weapon system is your heavy PPC. It goes out to 18. And then you have a couple ER medium lasers. And then you got your variable speed pulse system. So you got 2 of those, which go, you know, the damage output's going to be 975 out to long range. So that's not a bad system. You know, I can understand why it's being used. But the only problem is you're looking at, this is more of a knife fighter, because with the triple strength you have with it, you definitely want to get this thing in close, and literally we've seen this one kick legs off mechs before. You know, you're doing a 12-point kick, and if you're heated up, why not? You wouldn't be heated up. You would be doing a lot of damage. It's like you come up to somebody, kick, and typically all the leg armor's gone and some internal, or you literally, I've seen it done it, is that you kick somebody's leg completely off. It's like poof, and they're down, and then the next turn they're just laying there deciding life's choices. Do I leave my confines of my beautiful mech, or do I get just obliterated by everybody following up? Because it's one of these mechs where, okay, I did my work on this mech, I'm moving on to the next one and doing the same thing. And let me tell you, it's like you see this mech with the triple strength heated up, and they'll ask, is that triple strength active? Yes, it is. And they'll be backing away, trying to get away from you, and then focusing this mech down. And it doesn't take very long to focus this mech down. You know, one of the problems. Now, one thing it does have is it has a light fusion engine, so if you do take out a torso, you're taking a couple engine hits to go with it. So a lot of times I've noticed this mech loses a torso, and the next thing you know, it's just cooking. It's like frying bacon when it comes to the heat levels. So there is that problem. and it comes a little bit more spendy. And I can guarantee you, people will see this mech coming and say, "Oh yeah, is that the one with the triple strength?" Yes. Okay. You must die, type of thing. So there's that. And oh, did I say yes? It does have an improved C3 CPU. Yeah. How did I forget about that? Yeah, all hail the word Blake. It's all part of the jihad. So this is kind of your fast-moving, just get in their face type of thing. And you're with working with in conjunction like with Celestials, you know, that type of thing. And yeah, this is the guy that's going to be your bodyguard for your Celestials. Yeah, pretty much. And then we got the C version. All right, this one that comes out, it comes in at 1530 battle value, so similar to the one of the other versions. Now, this one comes in with a C3 slave, so it's part of a network. Obviously, you're going to have a master in some place running on the table. The armor out fitted is same as the original. We still have the two SRM6s in the right and left torso. We have the Gauss rifle still, but one ER medium laser in the left arm. So basically, it's took one of the ER medium lasers and swapped it for a C3 slave. Okay. Not a problem with that, because obviously, if you got a master on board, you know, this thing will be sitting back there and it's like, oh yeah, we got the fast-moving scout running around out front, and this guy's sitting there plugging holes with that Gauss rifle. Like I said, 8 turns before you even decide to get close with this thing. And then that's when the SRM6s, that's your crit hunters in that one ER medium laser. And this mech does not have to worry about heat. You know, that's the thing. It's got the 10 double heat sinks. And the most heat it's going to produce is, let's see, there's 10, 14, 18? Yeah. So 18. Unless it takes an engine hit, it's never going to heat up. So, yeah, this thing will fire all day long and can even jump all day long if it wants to. Now, if you had this mech with jumping jack on board, yeah, you can jump from one position to the next and get your 2 mod. It'd be the same as running, but because it does a good job. Okay, never have to worry about heat, and you're just a fire support platform. So if you had a couple LRM platforms, this mech, and eyes and ears out there front, that's being your spotting for you, moving everybody into short range. Yeah, this thing could do a good job. All right. And that is all the standard versions. Now, the one version, let me see if I can pull it up here. Where is that? There we go. One version that we have done in the past, this is kind of the city fighter kind of aspect that we got going on here. It has, we swapped out the Gauss rifle with an LBX-10 with 2 tons of ammunition, so solid and cluster, and this thing can go 20 turns. Yeah, when you got something that's punching holes someplace and then you're following up with an LBX cannon, yeah, I love LBX-10s for the ability. Probably usually it's an average of 6 to 9 or somewhere in there. You're going to have your little 6, 8, 10 type of deal where you're going to get the 1-point plinkers, and eventually sometimes you get head hits, sometimes you get little floaty crits going around, and sometimes you hit the open spots, so, and have potential for doing crit hunting. And then when you get in closer, you got the it has 3 ER medium lasers and the 2 SRM6s for more crit hunting loveliness. So when it gets in there, just bang, start just swinging away and see what you can do. Now the only problem is, it still only has the 10 double heat sinks, and your heat output can get pretty high because you got the 3 ER medium lasers and the 2 SRM6s, and the LBX cannon. So yeah, you can put out 29 heat pretty quickly, but hey, let's just put it this way. It has triple strength armor. Hey, you just notice that's a perfect 9? Yeah. You just like heat that thing up to the 9, and then you can balance it out for however you want to with the heat output. Now, one other thing you can do is swap out the 3 or mediums for 3 standard medium lasers. Go that route, and then, you know, that would cut down 6 heat off the thing, so that would help it a little bit. So that would be running it in the nice little heat spot too. Then you just turn off some heat sinks to get into that 9 spot when you want to, and able to start kicking legs off, you know, like I said before, you know, not going to bother punching, it's just going to be kicks. All right, so that's pretty much it when it comes to the Helios. Not a bad mech. The only problem is that it does have a slight situation when it comes to the armor. And the version that we had added 3 tons of armor on board, so it's got a 192, so it can get in a little closer for a few more turns compared to the standard version. All right, so that's it. That's the Helios. Not a bad mech. Hope you guys like it. Like and subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elcorrex out.